Hey guys. Wendy here. I am trying to open up my chat so I can see any of your questions. If you're new here, I'm Wendy and my channel is Fab Crafts and More. And I tried to upload a video last night of what I'm gonna show you today, and I was having technical difficulties. Jeez Louise. So I decided I was just going to go live. So I am working on getting the chat open here and waiting for anybody who might be showing up. And then we'll get down to it. I hope everybody's having a good day. If you are new here to my channel, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I would really love that and appreciate that. All right, so let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and I don't know what things you like about junk journals or other mixed media. It doesn't just have to be junk journals. What that got a phone call right in the middle of the live. Fun with Facebook. I mean, not those looked like a spam number. So anyways, what I'm going to go over today is how to use paper napkins to create really cute, beautiful pieces that you can use in your junk journals. I've made tags out of them, and you can use any book papers that have images on them from books. What I'm going to use today, and you can see here that I've got music, let's get some stuff out of the way, of Beethoven's sonatas. And it is from 1894, and it's really old. And the paper is, here's a piece of it, is really brittle. So like when I fold it just like that, it rips super easy. So I was hoping that I was going to be able to make signature pages out of this, or envelopes or things that require folding, but also require them to stay put together. And unfortunately, that is not the case. So I'm going to have to use these pages just as flat pieces. So I thought maybe doing this process with these pages would also reinforce them a little bit, because we are going to be using some glue and to get the napkins on here. So what you will need is some sort of pages. I'm going to use the music pages, but you can use any pages from any books or other things that you have that have a good image, you know, that's sort of dark to show through like this. So you can see where the napkin image is, but you can also see right through that to the music. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a page out. I even have to be careful pulling the pages out of this, because they do rip pretty easily. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and take my X-Acto knife and just run that across there so that it's less likely to rip. Because see that one below, I tried to just pull it out and it ripped out. I am having trouble seeing your comments right now, so I apologize for that. Please leave comments though, and I will go back and answer them. I am definitely trying to get this opened. Oh, maybe I can get it open. Hang on, bear with me for a second. Okay, I think they'll pop up here in just a second. So what you're gonna need is some sort of paper. You are also going to need some paper napkins. Now we have kind of a fun gift store in my town, and they always have, well, they place to get napkins. And let's see. You know what? I don't know why this is. Oh, here we go, chat. I'm going to open the chat. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? It might. Okay, I see Debbie. Hi, Debbie. And hopefully some other people will now start to join in the chat. I'm watching the chat now so I can answer questions if you have them as we go along. So these are just paper napkins. I got these on clearance. This one was 99 cents. These ones were 50% off. And what you want to do is you want to choose design napkins that have white or light colored in areas, because if you sort of napkin, that's going to cover up the images that are on your paper. So you want to go with napkins that have lighter colored areas. So I am going to show you. Now we're going to grab one of these napkins out of here. And napkins are either like usually 2 or 3 ply. And this particular, it'll tell you this one right here is 2 ply. This one over here is 3 ply. So what you want to do, now I've done a couple with this napkin right here, and if you can see along the edge, it's sort of been pressed or quilted. You can see that texture, so it doesn't come apart super easily. So I know on this napkin already, I tried to like come to the side or the corner, but I couldn't really get it to break free from from the other side. This one was just really tricky. I'm gonna try. But for this particular one, what I ended up having to do was I came right into the middle, and it doesn't matter if your pages get a little bit wrinkled. Hey, Liz, welcome, welcome. I just sort of pulled it apart in the middle here. This is only for that, and I think like sort of maybe cheaper napkins are going to be a little harder. And then you just have to look for the different layers. So now that I've sort of ripped that, I can get into this other layer. And now you want to be a little bit careful because you want to try not to rip your design. Around the edges, it actually gives it a little bit of character to have some rips in there. So I'm going to open this up like so. And then again, this one was just tricky. So I'm just sort of working my finger all the way to the edge. I was playing with these napkins. I was literally struggling with this stupid napkin for like 20 minutes. And then I was like, I'm just gonna rip right into it. So once you get to the edge, see how my finger's like in between the layers? Once you sort of get to the edge, just pull gently on each side till you get there, and then you can open the. So again, just be gentle. You don't want to rip the part that has the design. And you can also save this white side for other, like texturing other pages that you might want to make. And this doesn't have to just be for junk journaling. This can be for collages on canvas and other things. So you can save this part for later. So now I have my sort of see-through layer. You can see there my see-through layer. And what I'm going to do is, if you want to make a full page, you could totally just keep this all together. But what I'm going to do is just cut my square, because that's all I want right now, is just a little square to maybe make a tag or a pocket. And so you could even rip it if you wanted to. You could take your, you want to be really careful though, because it is kind of tricky to rip the napkin, but you could have an edge you know, like that, or even just go through and rip it easy. Paper, I don't know if you've noticed how paper products have one direction that rips really nicely, and then like the other direction is always kind of wonky. So you can just experiment with that. All right, so then what you want to do is, you know, if you have different words that you want to make sure get under this, you just, you know, figure out where you want to place your design. I know I want to get the clefts in here, so I'm going to go pretty close to the edge on this. And so now I kind of know where I want to be with that. And let's talk about glue. So this is super easy. You can use, I'm going to use Elmer's glue. I have a whole bunch of this from when my kids were, I would stock up for when my kids were in school. So I have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 bottles of Elmer's glue that I really just want to get rid of, but don't want to throw away. And so there's a little, I don't have a ratio for you. You just squirt the glue in a container and add a little bit of water just to make it not crazy thick, so that when you're spreading it, you're not, you don't have a solution that's too thick that's going to rip your napkin. Then you can use a sponge brush or any paintbrush. I wouldn't use like a fancy paintbrush. This paintbrush, I don't know if you can see, is really just one of those super cheap. I think this probably came in some kids pack of something, but you don't have to have a fancy brush. You just need something to get the glue on your paper. You can use Elmer's glue, you can use Mod Podge, you can use artist mediums like matte medium, anything that is spreadable and dries and gives a nice coating. So I'm just going to take this old cruddy brush, mix my glue around. This has actually been sitting in this tub, a plastic tub. I mixed this up last night, and it's still just sitting here. So even if you, you know, make too much, you can, if you have an airtight container or a container, you can store it for a couple days and come back to it. And so now I am just going to brush this on. And I feel like I made this one a little too watery. You want to be careful because it will soak into the paper and sort of ripple it. But as it dries, this is the same solution I used on these ones. As it dries, it does, you can still see some ripples in it, but you can iron it. You want to make sure if you're ironing where you have glue, you have parchment paper or a Teflon sheet over the top of that so it doesn't stick to your paper or stick to your ironing surface. But you just want to put, you know, just a sort of a thin amount of glue on there. And then I sort of take my napkin, figure out where it needs to go, and fold it in the middle a little bit, and then let it drop down onto the paper. And you can see how it starts to suck that up. And then I just sort of run my finger along there. Then I take my brush with a little bit of glue on it and just start brushing out toward the side. You can see here, you start to get some little air bubbles, and you want to just sort of push those out. Depending on the strength of your napkin, like this one actually is seems to be pretty strong, so I'm putting bubbles out to the side. But this is really just like decoupage, you know, Mod Podge, decoupage. You're just putting it on paper, and you've taken that thin layer of the napkin off and just brushing it around. So let's just, you can kind of push some of these lines. Now, some of these areas where it sort of, you know, folds up on itself or sort of ripples, I don't mind that at all. Let's look at the same sample. I don't know if you can see the texture, how there's, you know, these little lines, but it adds dimension and texture to your piece. And where did I put my tag? Here's a tag that I have made out of this, and I really like the texture. I also put a doily on there that I used distress ink on and added. This little circle actually came from the sheet music And then I just glued a little bit of cheesecloth on there and attached it with an eyelet and used some sari fabric there. So I don't mind those little lines. Hi, Carrie Sue from the dripping hot coast of Texas. I heard though, I saw an article yesterday, Carrie Sue, that you guys are about to drop 30 degrees, literally in the less than like 24 hours. So you may be dripping hot right now, but you may be freezing cold tomorrow. And I'm sorry about that. That's just what I saw on the Weather Channel. It was like, oh my gosh. So I have layered the glue, the watered down glue over the top of the napkin, and you can see how the music notes are showing through. And you can let this dry, or you can use a heat tool to help it dry. I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be noisy. I'm going to turn it on for just a minute for demonstration purposes. And everything's going to blow away on my desk. But you can also, if you're impatient like me, use your heat tool and dry this a little quicker. So I'm not going to do it all the way. I just wanted to demonstrate that to you, that you could also do that. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this other napkin just to show you, because this one's 3-ply. And I had mentioned this earlier. If you're just joining us, hello. If you're watching the replay, hello. I tried to record a video that I was going to edit and put on my channel, and so many technical difficulties prevented that from happening. And I started to pull this napkin apart thinking it was 2-ply, and so I was like, I was so excited because it was coming apart easier than the one I just did. And I pulled it apart and it was actually 3-ply. And so I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? This one's 3-ply. So you just want to make sure. So I'm going to pull this first layer off. But if you still have a white layer, then you probably have a 3-ply napkin. So you want to get under that other layer. So now I'm just going to carefully, again, same thing, carefully pull this apart. This is so easy. You could probably also, if you were having trouble getting things apart, I want to use this part that has the word succulents on it. You could go ahead and cut this ahead of time, like so, and then it might even be easier once you've cut into it like this, or even if you want to, you know, rip it into there, sometimes that will separate the layers even easier. Of course, not right now when I'm trying to do it for you, but you know, when I'm all alone, everything goes perfectly. And then again, just be careful pulling this apart so you don't rip your design. Although if you were to rip this, it really isn't going to make that much a difference, because when you layer it on here, you could push the pieces together and it'll just look like, you know, one of the little texture lines. So don't get, you know, this does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfection. You can make mistakes, cover it up, and it looks like you meant to do it. You know what I mean? That's one of the fun things I think about junk journals, is that you can use things that have been ripped, and often you rip things on your own. So there, we've taken the glue solution and painted that over the paper. I'm going to do the same thing and just sort of lay this down, push it down in the middle, and you can even just use your fingers. Of course, then your fingers get all gluey. Making a mess, that's part of it too, right? If it's not messy, it's not as much fun, unless you really hate cleaning up messes. You can also, I'm working on my Tim Holtz glass mat that's actually, I just got this and I'm super excited, but a lot of the times this comes with its own little Teflon sheet too. And the Teflon sheets are non-stick and things wipe off really easily. I also have a larger Teflon sheet and you can totally use that underneath because it is soaking through a little bit, but I'll just get in there quick with a baby wipe and wipe it off. So we're going here. I really love this succulent napkin. I was super excited when I found it and really excited to use it because it's just adorable over the music. Oh my gosh, I am not paying attention to the chat. I'm sorry, Liz. Hey, Carrie Sue. Okay, let's see. I use a piece of tape to get them apart. Liz, that is a great tip. Carrie Sue, great tip. Tape works wonders. If I could find my tape right now, I would try that. Oh my gosh. You guys are seeing. I have to push something on my phone here. Hang on. My battery's gonna run out, so I have to turn my charging case. I forgot to charge it before we started here. Okay, so there we go. Enough chit chat. So like I said, you can let these dry on their own. If you are impatient, you can use your heat tool. And so then I will move along, set this over here on my Teflon sheet. These are ones that I've already done and cut out. You could make pockets for your journals. You can, you know, take these and I'm gonna go ahead and rip this one. You know, you can just come in and make, you know, a fun piece to go in your junk journal. One of my little tips is if you have papers where you want this edge to show, you want to rip it toward you like so, because if you rip the other direction, never mind, this paper doesn't work like that. Anyways, some paper, forget it. This paper doesn't work like that. Some papers, if you turn it over and then rip it toward you. That's what I meant to do. Oh my gosh. It's been a week. It's been a week. Then you still have that torn edge, but you don't have this extra. So it just depends on what you want. Because then, let's go ahead and, since I have you guys here, we'll just stick around a little bit more. And so then you can go in and distress the edges. Of course, I am not affiliated with Ranger or Tim Holtz, but there you go. I use Vintage Photo for most all of my distressing. I would love to know what colors you use, or even if you use a different ink. Because there are other inks besides Ranger inks. So let me know what your favorite distressing ink and distressing tool is. I've seen people use beauty blenders, you know, for like foundation and things like that. But so there's that little guy. Look at, I love the way this looks. I'm super excited to use this. Am I frozen? I don't look frozen to me, but it looks like it might have frozen up a little bit. I'm gonna pause for a moment and see if we get connected back. Oh no, what is happening? Let's see. Okay, well, hopefully it'll come back up. Yeah, it might be me being, maybe I'm talking too fast. Maybe it can't keep up with my chit chat. I don't know if I can do anything on my side to help that. Let me see here. No. Okay, well, hopefully the replay will come back, or all of it will come back right now. I'm going to send a little message myself, just a hello in the chat to see if it gets better. So anyways, that is how you use paper napkins on paper to create these gorgeous little pieces that you can use in your mixed media projects. So it sounds like I might be a little laggy on this end, and I apologize for that. Oh, Liz says looks okay on your computer. Oh my gosh, who knows? It's been technical difficulty days here at Fab Crafts and More. Maybe it's Oregon, maybe it's me. But I hope this helped you, and I hope you've learned something new or just enjoyed hanging out. And I appreciate you guys coming and watching this video. Again, please thumbs up if you liked it. And subscribe to my channel because I hope to do some more tutorials. Check out some of my other videos that I've done this last week. I had some great thrift store hauls, which is where I got this music book and the doilies. The napkins were from a local store, but any party store or really any store that sells napkins, which are a lot of stores, or I always keep an eye out at thrift stores and estate sales for pretty napkins too. The other set of napkins I showed at the beginning was this one with the dahlias, which I think is really pretty too. So, hey, why not? Let's do it. I've got time right now. We have been liquidating, maybe that's not the right word. We've been moving, my mom's still with us, but she does have Alzheimer's, and she lived 2.5 hours away. So we moved her closer to us. And, but we just sold her. This is the last weekend we have before it closes next week. So I have been back and forth and not having a lot of time to craft. I've been spending a lot of time stopping at thrift stores in those areas along our way. You know, you got to get out and stretch your legs. You can't just sit in the car for 4 hours a day without stretching, right? So we have our little route, my husband and I, to stop at thrift stores on the way. He likes going to thrift stores too. He looks for vintage audio equipment like record players and cassette players. We're so retro. We're so hipster. Just kidding. We're so old school. We're just old. That's what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I need another piece of paper. You know what I'm gonna do with this one? I am going to, hang on, I'm coming. I'm gonna use this little guy. Let's see what happens if we put one. Is this already the right size? Sort of. Let's just go for a full size. I love these ledger sheets, but I think of ledger when I see these. So let's try this. And you know, like the green, you could just stress this ahead of time, but I like the green colors over the top of that, and green and pink. That's so 80s. Green and pink is like back. So much stuff from the 80s is back, like scrunchies. Oh my gosh. It's cracking me up. Like it really is cracking me up. All the stuff that is coming back from the 80s. And then I'm just going to go ahead with this one. And see, here's this paper rips like pretty nice that way, but watch, I bet it's not going to rip. It's going to get all crazy on this way. don't want to get the glue on there yet, but let's just go in there. You can kind of use your hand to help you get that off of there. And I made sure this was also a 3-ply, that I only have the 1 ply. And I'm gonna go ahead and place it over the holes there. I don't know why, I'm just feeling that. And now I've got lots of extra glue because I'm just not paying attention right now, but that's okay. Ah! Okay, so again, I'm just gonna brush. This is a gross, like, kids super cheap brush. You don't have to have fancy equipment for all this junk journaling. There is lots of fancy equipment you can buy, but for this, just get some old napkins, get some old paper, get some Elmer's glue. Like, what are we back? We're back in the 80s. Oh yeah, I like the way that looks. I do. I wish I had one of these that was going to already be dry. Ledger paper makes fantastic background. I love it. I have been using it. Oh, I put away some of the other stuff that I've been working on. Whoop. So I could do this for you guys. And my other stuff, it's run away. But I've been doing some cute things with ledger paper too. I really like it. So sometimes as this dries, it'll get some little air bubbles. You can just push them down. You can try and pull them when your papers are still a little damp. And I'm going to try all the way over here to the edge and make a mess on my mat. Like so. Yay! That's so cute. I love it. Okay, it's not going to be dry, but this is going to be, I think this is going to be cute, and will probably make a tag like I did with this one, and distress the edges, add an eyelet or some sort of string on there. This is some recycled sari fabric. I love. I've had it for a really long time and I cannot remember where I got it, so I'm sorry. But Etsy, eBay, you can go and look for recycled sari fabrics, and they have all sorts of beautiful colors. And that's that. I appreciate you for joining me today. If you're watching on the replay, thank you for watching. And I'm going to say it one more time. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.